Good morning, everybody. All right, so we see a little reversal yesterday. Maybe the start of something, we'll see. One of the things that I see that could potentially be putting a floor under this market short term is the growing bearish bets. Let me find, here we go. So this is what we look at. Well, we look at it a couple of times a week, but it's the sentiment internal that measures put call ratio, total put call ratio. And one of the things that has occurred over the last, I guess this year or so, began the end of last year, was that you can see these envelopes around this moving average. Prior to the end of last year, they were facing up, right? So during that bullish phase, sentiment was constantly bullish, but it reached higher extremes before tops happened. We always look for a combination of breadth and sentiment together to get a signal. So one of the things that I've talked about probably over the last year during bearish phases or corrections was the possibility of getting down to 1.2, through the lower bands where it wasn't going down there. It may tag a lower band like it did here, but wouldn't get anywhere down here. So option traders are becoming more and more bearish over time in this market, as they should be. Right? Everything's about extremes. And what is the measure of an extreme? Yesterday, I said that it looks like this will tag 1.2. It's right there. I also said in a bear market, it's not uncommon to see 1.4. And this lower thing, this little, whatever you call it, line chart that fills it in, just kind of shows the direction day to day. And you see yesterday, or the day before yesterday, it closed up above 1.25. And so this, I think, whatever downward spike, and I've said this anyway, downward spike that may occur on the Fed announcement is more likely to be a buying opportunity. One of the reasons being that you've got all of these bearish bets under the market. And yesterday we covered at different levels as to where there were the very large, open interest of those bearish bets in different indices. So that's one piece of it. Now, sentiment, that's on breadth, has been getting a little better on the downside. So, yesterday we had this little rally, and this morning there was this spike down, and now it spiked up. So suggests institutions are beginning to anticipate, to buy the dip here after this decline that's happened. We still have the announcement yesterday. Maybe there'll be a surprise, maybe something more than the half a basis point. I think that would be a very good thing in intermediate term, maybe not in the moment. In any event, I would love to see this drop down here to this level, maybe at around 400 on the news. We'll see if that happens. Sentiment is already touching 1.2. So it's an extreme, breadth getting a little further down would be my wish. Maybe it won't happen. But we see, yesterday's bottoming tail bar still, in the bottom part of the wide range bar. So really not that significant. It's just chopping around. We've seen plenty of times where there's been rallies that just fall apart. So today is probably going to be another, I guess, buy the dips. How much is it dip? Or, we're just pointing out the way things are beginning to set up here, that whatever downside possibly does come, right, just based on what we see, these big nasty bars, there'll be buyers down below because of this very bearish sentiment. Now, that doesn't take away this very bearish weekly chart where you've got these two bottoming tail bars that did not follow through. So while it's still a trading range, down at the bottom of the trading range, it could dip up a bit and have a nice little rally before going back down again. So takeaway here is whatever downside there may be, it should get bought again, but ultimately, is it really that bullish in the context of, this bearish market that's occurring? Well, we'll see how far that buying takes it to the upside when it does occur. Now, then drop is uncertain. I think what McGraw is telling me that there's room for the VIX to go up to this area up there. And yes, it does. Absolutely. And while I've got that line there, I mean, any kind of large sell-off has room to go up to the next level. I don't know that that'll happen. I would love to see it happen because it would just create a bigger buying opportunity for prices to trend. Yeah, that's monthly. This is a monthly chart. So I was showing the markets there, how it looked on the monthly with those bottoming tails that went nowhere. SPX, yes, I forgot. 35. Yeah, well, maybe 38, right? I mean, it piked up here once, and maybe if we do get that sell-off, maybe it pokes up there to 38 or so. All right, let me take a look at SPX. For those anxious to option, let me look at over here. Let me look at SPY. And there's yesterday's bottoming tail bar. There's still that bearish monthly chart. Let's put that to a weekly. Right, and that's our greater than 100% retracement. Took out the low, anticipating a turn. So once the turn happens, it's one bar. Right, and we see this is one bar. Ideally, I'd love to see today be a down day. Right, just to come down there and test the lows and see buyers step up again. The more bars you have creating a bottom is just that much more reliable. So we'll see. Okay, so we got buying on the dips. Let me take a look at what's below here. SPX. $12. No, I don't know. Let me look at IB. Hold on. Wow. $40.60. Wow. Man, did that tighten up? Hmm. I don't know. Let me look at the upside. 280. Yes, it's too close. And 42.60. Man, I think it's an SOH day. I think it's too dangerous. It's too close, not without seeing some type of movement. Yep. It's, I make the analogy. It's too the stake is too tight to the tiger's mouth to jump in the cage, so to speak. Is too tight today. Whereas, on a normal day where the premiums are so far away, it's like, yeah, I can get in there no problem and snatch the lunch before getting tagged. I'm not doing that one. Well, for Robert, for it may be completely, but I don't know. But We'll find intraday trading opportunities like yesterday, right? The two stocks, there were plenty of them. But when I said yesterday mornings, hold off there because of the end of day decline that, Friday sell off, and the things popped up. And, I gave a couple of stocks, and they worked out fantastically for day trades. So for SPX, it's just the premiums are too tight. There's too, no, let someone else test that. And yeah, but if we get some kind of an intraday pop, where the premiums will expand, and then you got to be Johnny on the spot to assess that and say, oh, okay, kind of like yesterday, it was like, okay, it's going up, bearish bias, downtrend. It popped up here, it was around 10:30. These are intraday shorts, and they worked out nicely. So SPX, I think we're going to have to get some pop. Maybe this move up continues, and let me see here. It's already beginning to stall at resistance. So I don't know. We'll see. Better to SOH when it's not a no-brainer with SPX for sure. So flip-flopping around here, retesting. It took the low out. Not bad for the beginnings of a potential turn. We'll see. YM. Just range expansions. I mean, it dipped all the way down there to support. It just technically absolutely makes sense, to come down there and have some kind of a counter trend rally. And then, I kind of sometimes I use the saying, this is where the heavy lifting begins. Well, drops down into support, like throwing a rock off a building or a tennis ball, and it goes down to support where buyers are, and it bounces back up, and the bounce is over. So now, is this going to be a higher low? This rally here went up for what reason? I don't know. I don't think there was any news, but so we look at our price patterns, and what is this telling me? Well, I got a resistance area there, and so far I've got bullish price action so far. And if it can clear this, it enters a void, and that enters the potential to move up into this big red bar. So if that happens, we'll see how far it gets. Russell down a little bit here, flip-flopping. Same pattern, no big deal. Bitcoin, right, flip-flopping. And this is a situation that has the potential both ways, meaning this has got a void below. And if Bitcoin is dropping below here, pay attention, because it could be a fake out. Right? It always can be, but you see this big distribution pattern here, this head and shoulders pattern. If that fails, this is going to rip to the upside, and the market probably will. So it's something else to keep an eye on, even if you don't trade it. Have an alert set, because what I'm explaining here is really just having part of your dashboard, right? As a active trader, whether it's day trading or you're looking for something, for swings, is that what's happening in the market. So knowing where the high point is in the volatility index is one part of your dashboard, as well as which way is the VIX trending during the trading day. So if Bitcoin starts to drop below this low and opening up the door to a significant drop, which will be bearish for the markets. But so you'll have to keep an eye on that. But if it starts to drop and sprints right back up again, I'm going to view that as a bullish indication of what's happening in the short term. So it's a pattern that is overall bearish, and it's just like we looked at. Let me go back, just the picture. Bullish price action at resistance. At support, it's not going up. So bearish price action at support. It can't pop up. So it's at that inflection point. Whereas, okay, which way are you going to go? It's like seeing a pattern where somebody draws lines and it's like, okay, the volatility is contracting and it's reaching a point. It's kind of like this, but it's flattish. So keep an eye on that. Oil's doing nothing. Silver coming down to support. Buyers beginning to step up. Did math on dealer. Okay. I don't want to give anybody brain damage, McGraw. It's interesting what you're saying. And I watched that video that you sent the link to. That was interesting stuff too, what they're doing. Maybe we can discuss that in a slow time in the room. Gold hasn't reached resistance or support yet. And euro collapse, which means the dollar's been going up. And we'll see if that holds here. Where's UUP? Interest rates going up, the dollar's going up. There's like thing going on, coming, and interest rates going up, and the dollar is tied to interest rates. But look, being someone that is on the fence of this current administration running America is in the process of attempting to destroy this country. Well, why would the dollar be going up? Well, destroy American companies, that their goods are becoming more and more expensive to companies overseas. And it may be a master plot. So this isn't a good thing. At one point, it's good from the point of view of our dollars. If you're an American, has buying power overseas, but the rest of the world, American goods are becoming more and more unattractive. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, I think that's it for me, Dan. Take over. And when we talked about this yesterday, and 10-year touching 3%, there's a lot of things intermediate term that say things aren't very good. But short term, we may get that bounce after tomorrow.
All righty, good morning. So all our opens are fine. Let's go right to a bunch of gappers. Actually, this Daku was shorted a call spread yesterday, and we're getting a nice gap down here. So I'll be tightening the stop on that. OLED here in a downtrend, but making the turn after greater than 100%. Put spread idea. Hey W. Do you remember we actually had this as a short in a week ago letter under this bar, and it didn't trigger, so I canceled it. And now look at it gapping under that. This is a big descending triangle to all-time lows. That's a short watch. Hour, never heard of this little guy, but look at the 20 and 50. This is building a beautiful base of support. Gapping up here. So that's a watch. Put that in a window. Save is Spirit Airlines. They declined JetBlue's offer. You can tell the stock got all excited. And look at that. Can you believe that? That was on a buyout rumor. 100% retracement. Incredible. And they accepted the buyout from Frontier. Strange action to me. Wow. Hey, grimy below. It's continuation. It is a bear sandwich, but just like all continuation patterns and all 1, 2, 3s and all everything grimy, I don't like doing them far from the 20 after multiple bars. Whereas that same continuation pattern being down here at the 2050 after a breakout and retest is going to have different odds. Zulu India, this must be earnings. That's why I'm looking at it. Put spread idea. Qto. would have been a put spread idea over, what's today, Tuesday, over Friday's high, but I see it gapping down now, so that actually could be a continuation short, 30-minute low. Samina, not doing much. NXPI, there's a put spread watch. Still declining 2050, but it's slowly. Manpower here, 29, let's see, 440. Put spread idea, McGraw. That's a really nice one. MPWR in the window. OG gapping down 6240, bearish gap, bearish. Wow. I mean, there's, they always show the headlines of what the broader markets are down, but there's so many individual stocks that are down whatever, 70%. That's an ugly downtrend right there. HLIT 918. Put spread idea. Big C, potential bottoming pattern, but I don't like the railroad track 20 and 50 down. Bottoming patterns, we like those to curl horizontal, which suggests it's building a base of support. A little retest here, little retest, but gapping down. So it's failed. This green, it's gapping under this green bar, so that looks lower. So there's another continuation pattern, Grimy. It failed. This thing's getting whacked. Now this when something gets whacked so big after an already fluid move down, my bias is to see if buyers will step up. So it's a $90. Well, there's minor support. So let's see what it does. The first 30 minutes. NTR gapping 102. Nah, it would have to get over. It would have to get much deeper into Friday's bar to interest me. Yeah, Oxy, I remember from yesterday. That's better. Yeah, I remember somebody asked me. I don't know what type of trade you're thinking, Grimy, but it broke support from a topping pattern, but it's holding nicely at the 50. It'd be a put spread idea. We still have naked puts on XOP, the 115s way down here. A Moss call spread candidate, gapping right here, $60. So it's all of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consolidation bars is now resistance. So I'm going to put that in a window. I'm running out of windows here. Moss. KMT. No interest. FLS. I don't see a gap. We'll come back to you. No pattern. Charlie. When I only see one print like this, I don't know if it's real, but if it is gapping up to 35, put spread candidate. CBT, I don't see where it's gapping, but this one, depending on where it gaps, is a put or call spread watch. Depends where it gaps. This is either a bullish retest where it's going to gap up and all this is support, or it's going to gap down to 64 and all that's resistance. So that's a great example of trading either way. CAR 305, this put spread idea. These are all earnings. Sage, I think, is biotech. But no, getting oversold. I don't see a gap. BXP, I don't see a gap. Said G, gapping up, coming in, 30-minute high, put spread idea. WMB, 30-minute high, put spread idea. Devon, same. Citra, same 30-40. That's a nice gap over this red bar with a bullish pre-market. So that's actually a long watch. Put that in a 5-minute window. That's holding well. Bravo Papa 30. Wow, that's a big gap here. This is an ADR, British Petroleum. But put spread idea. MGM is a big fat trading range mess. All right, that's a bearish gap, but it's down so much from the 200. I don't know which way that's going to go. Chug. I don't know what's up with this company, but that looks horrible. Now, this was a quality bottoming pattern, and it had a nice run. That's probably, $10 run, but now it's failed. That I don't know what's going on with that. That looks like it might go out of business. Clorox no pattern. Wilk 30-minute high. Boucher, that ain't bad. It's what's called an end of day rally, which many things are, because the market's just friggin' ripped the last hour into the close. All right, Rockwell is another one. It's a bearish gap, but it's down a lot from the 20. So let's see where they want to step up. Leah's potential bottoming pattern, but no interest. KKR, no interest. J, 30-minute low. Maybe call spread or day trade short. H6. This is a fluid bar down right to the 200. It's already moved a lot, but this is a long watch on a pullback and a put spread idea. I see said G coming in hard, so that's giving up its bullish. Look at this hour I mentioned. Look at that thing. That was a little gapper I like, but now it's run too much. HSIC, let's check the $80 puts and lower. There's no weeklies. The spreads are asinine. The $80 puts 25 cents